It's happening, everybody. It's happening. You don't get me out of bed unless it's something really important. Jeff Cameron, though, always up all hours of the day to keep you entertained on all things Florida State. The Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock, weekdays, 93.3 FM, as well as right here on YouTube, Warchant TV Live. Jeff Cameron, we are here to talk about Destin Hill. He is officially a Florida State Seminole. The university went ahead and posted this story to their website, so it's a really, really real thing happening, Jeff. In terms of the amount of times you've been covering Florida State for, I don't want to say the number out loud, but I'm going to say the number out loud, for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Where does this rank in terms of just the one of the biggest roller coasters, I guess, in all of Florida State athletics history?
Well, this reminds me of back in the day, Aslan. Always good to see you, brother. It reminds me back in the day of, like, guys, when we started seeing the commitment followed by the decommitment followed by the recommitment, and I would talk about rees and things like that, and we'd have fun with it because it was always the topsy-turvy nature of recruiting, and I kind of made fun of it and rolled my eyes and all of that. This has been absurd. Like, there was at times, Aslan, thoughts that this wasn't even a real person. Like, are we sure this guy actually exists? And it is crazy. Now, one thing I will say, and congratulations to Destin Hill getting into a great school like Florida State and having this opportunity. And congratulations to the coaches who stuck with him, because I will tell you, Aslan, what we don't see typically in a situation like this is a recruit, any recruit, right, who commits to a school and then for whatever reason it doesn't work out. It could be grades. It could be a problem off the field, discipline-wise, any number of things that come up in a recruitment of a player. If too much time passes, like we start getting into 6 months or a year and a half, usually at some point coaches kind of cut bait and the kid realizes it ain't going to work out, and maybe they look elsewhere and the school moves on. It tells you they must really believe that he is a difference maker and they want him here for the obvious reason in that he's a very good player, potentially an explosive player. We know it's hard to find that kind of speed, Aslan. So clearly they thought something about this kid was different than they have other recruits in most situations in the past. So I think that portends very well for the fact that they stuck with him and stuck with him and stuck with him. And now the fruits of their labor, right? It's paying off.
Mm-hmm. Jeffrey Welch saying, what? No official Warchant video of his arrival. Keep cool, Jeff. Jeffrey Welch, that is, of course. He'll be arriving later this afternoon. We're stationed out front of the football facility right now, so we'll hopefully have video of that as soon as he does arrive in Tallahassee. Jeff, for me, I moved on. So many of the fans didn't move on. I guess part of that was because of the fact that, listen, I'm not going to say the royal I had moved on, but, Michael, Corey had talked to people within the program and last year saying that they intended for him to show up eventually. I mean, we thought that was going to be last summer. After like that third time, to your point, when like these things don't work out, you feel like they cut bait.
Yeah.
It feels like the fan base never did at any point. Is there anything you think about this recruitment? Is it just those little crumbs out there that kept people hanging on the edge of their seat for 2 years for this kid to finally arrive?
It's the speed, man. It has to be the speed, right? The highlights are the speed. And then, look, listen, also at the time that Florida State was recruiting this kid, Aslan, to your question and to your point, remember that receiver room was awful. That was not a good room. It was considered by many at that time to be the worst in the ACC. Like a lot of other aspects of this team, the transformation has been exceptional. It's hard to imagine how much better this receiving core is now than it was when they were originally recruiting Destin Hill. And it may still get better. Now, again, it's speculation, but guys, if they get Keon Coleman, and all of a sudden, we're looking at a receiver room where you're 5 or 6 deep with legitimate talent and speed and a difference in size and every type of receiver. I mean, all of a sudden, it's not unlike the transformation of the offensive line, Aslan. I think we're talking about a team that goes from having a losing season to a winning season to, can we win the national championship? I mean, these kinds of things are being talked about in an off season. It's a whirlwind, and this adds to it. He's the unicorn. Like most people, like you, I think all of us thought it's not going to happen. How in the world is this going to work out? Well, like a lot of things in the last year, it's worked out for Florida State, and that's a credit to this staff and the way they recruit and the persistence with which they stay committed and dogged in their efforts to get kids in here that can make a difference. It's impressive, very impressive.
We won't know exactly just how in shape Destin Hill is going to be. Again, Florida State officially announcing on their website, Seminoles.com, that he is part of the football team. But that speed factor, I mean, being out of the game for 2 years, if he can get his legs underneath him, maybe not week 1 against LSU, but maybe by the time you're in Death Valley or later on in the year, this is something that they haven't had in terms of they've got so many different weapons, whether it's out backfield, tight end, the length of a guy like Johnny Wilson, but somebody that can like legitimately take the top off the defense, Jeff. I mean, that's something that gets you giddy when you think about it, right?
It is. It's, I thought, for example, that they did need to bring in another receiver. And I thought collectively for Florida State, it's a good receiving core. It's not an elite upper echelon, best in the, when we think of great segment groups at wide receiver, you think of Ohio State. Right? You think of how many great receivers they've had and produced and continue to do that. You go back a few years ago, it was LSU. They were just loaded with receivers, right? We know Alabama's done the same thing. Florida State hadn't ascended to that place yet. They had some difference makers and some matchup problems. Johnny Wilson is a matchup problem, but we don't look at him as changing the scoreboard, catching a hitch and making a guy miss and running 80 yards. That's not who he is. Now, you needed another guy like that. We kept waiting for that other guy. I don't know what Destin Hill can be in year 1, especially since he's getting here just now in the fall. We'll see. I don't know what he'll be, but you're right. He's an explosive receiver. And if they get Keon Coleman, if all of a sudden you have transformed the ability of this receiver room to change the game, to impact the game in a way that is, I made you miss Rashad Green. Remember, that guy makes you miss. Peace. He's gone. Florida State may be adding not 1, but 2 guys like that to go along with that depth and diversity of offense, Aslan. We're talking about an all-American quarterback who can make you miss in a phone booth, a bruiser at running back, and 4 guys behind him that are uniquely gifted as well. You're talking about a Jaheim Bell, who's an NFL tight end, and a Kyle Morlock, a Biscuit at tight end. Man, good luck stopping this offense with a deep offensive line, size. Florida State's offense is going to be very good next year, period.
One other thing here on Destin Hill before we take just a last look at what this offense can be here, Jeff. So many people want answers to why it's taken so long. I think probably part of this statement here from Coach Norvell saying that Destin showed a tremendous amount of maturity and persistence as he dealt with a private family matter that delayed his enrollment. I think that's all we're going to probably get from the coach. I'm sure we'll probably be able to speak to Destin Hill at some point because this university has been so accommodating and letting their new enrollees speak to the media. I don't know who's going to go there. I like asking awkward questions. I don't know if I'm going to even want to venture there, but I think that probably says about as much as we're going to really find out publicly, at least on what took so long for Destin to get here.
Yeah, and if it's a deep family matter or something like that, I don't think anybody really wants to continue to probe that. Right. We would all want our privacy in that situation. So I don't know that situation either, and I'm not inclined to really kind of burrow in there. I just it is a testament, and that's a great quote, by the way, from Mike Norvell. There aren't a lot of people that would miss a couple of years of playing football, right? And still remain that kind of focused and vigilant. So good for the staff, good for the kid. You root for all kids. You want kids to make it. You want kids to have opportunities. You want kids to succeed. Destin Hill now has a chance. Again, I don't know that Destin Hill comes in here and is all that impactful in year 1. It'd be hard to project that on almost anybody, even an extremely gifted player. But down the road, you certainly expect a lot from him because he's explosive. And so, Florida State does need some help in special teams as well. So that could be an area where maybe he does help in year 1.
I don't know if this qualifies as happy ending, though, but I think if anything, let's just at least take it for what it is right now. Because we don't know what's going to happen this year, but the fact that this kid finally has shown up, I don't want to say he was the butt of jokes, but it became urban legend. It was like a myth on all these shows that we would do, but he's a real dude. He's now part of your favorite football team, everybody. Jeff, you're going to be doing a show here, I assume later today, but you have so much excitement here. And we know that Jalen Key, the very coveted safety from UAB, is down between Florida State, Alabama, maybe Ole Miss on the periphery there. We know that Keon Coleman's still out there, so stay connected to warchant.com for the latest on Jalen Key. We think that maybe today might be announcement day for him. If not, perhaps stretches into the weekend. But Keon Coleman's still out there. The receiver from UTSA is out there. When you think about this right now, they've got some more runway to finish up what they want to have 2023 look like. Do you want the safety? Do you still think one of these receivers is out there? And if you get the kid from San Antonio, if you get the kid from East Lansing in Michigan State, how does that affect you and your enthusiasm for this program moving forward? Because you're giddy right now, Jeff. I don't want to stand in your way, man.
It's over the moon right now. I mean, it's hard not to just accept, even if you are somebody that's pessimistic or jaded, it's hard not to just accept the fact that Florida State has a diversity of talent on offense that will be the envy of most. I think it's why they're the odds-on favorite to win the ACC. It starts with the quarterback, but they continue to add weapons. They've got a legitimate offensive line. They're deep at running back. They continue to add weapons at wide receiver. I'm telling you now, you bring in a Keon Coleman, we don't know that they will, but if they are able to win that recruiting battle, your offensive firepower is the best in the ACC, and it's not close, and it's one of the best in the country. It would be hard to argue against what this Florida State offense will be. I'll say it again, Aslan. Championship aspirations for Florida State are going to center around how good will this defense be. So to answer your question, getting the safety or getting a safety, I think is important. You just don't have quality experience depth right now. You may like your two starters. I mean, you may be fine with Akeem Dent and Shaheem Brown. You may feel good about that, but you know there's not much behind them. So you need another player, whether it's a starter or not. So, you know, Florida State's in a nice position where they have the starters that they like at almost every position, and now they're just adding to the quality of depth at those positions as well. So this is where you wanted to be, where we've yearned to be, where we've been excited to be for a long time. And now Florida State fans find themselves in a position where they can dare to dream about winning this conference and being a college football playoff team. And if you're a college football playoff team, Aslan, you're in contention for the national title.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And how about all of this?
From the dentist on a Friday morning.
Oh, wow.
Z-Chan, you're the man. You're the man, Z-Chan. We appreciate you. Kayvon saying he'll be on the beach during the JCS. Let's freaking go. So, yeah, stay connected to warchant.com. Even before Jeff gets on air with Tom Lang, we hope to have possibly some footage of Destin Hill finally arriving here at Florida State. We do expect him to arrive in Tallahassee over at the Moore Center this afternoon. So we are stationed out there as well. Transfer portal is still open in terms of guys being able to commit to where they want to go. Jalen Keys, possibly a guy that might commit today. And then, as Jeff said, Keon Coleman's still out there for Florida State as well. Stay connected to warchant.com. Jeff, thanks for hopping on and doing this, man. We appreciate the heck out of you.
Yeah, it was fun. I always appreciate it, brother. Great to see you again.
Again, Destin Hill, officially, the school's announced it. It's on the website. It's right there. He is a Florida State Seminole. For Jeff, I'm Aslan. Thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. We certainly would appreciate it. Have a great one, everybody. Take care. Enjoy your weekend.